Oh, wow, oh, wow, oh, wow. Hi, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, Internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time, once again, for our weekly track roundup, where I go over what I felt were the best and worst tracks of the week. They are all linked down below if you are curious to try any of them. Of course, I want to shout out our Amazon and Turntable Lab associate links down there in the description box if you guys want to treat yourselves, especially with that Turntable Lab link, at a colorful pressing of a record. We get kickback from it, but the record collector fans out there, the music fans out there collecting vinyl, getting that vinyl, this next mention will be of interest to you. Our sponsor, the good people over at feedbands.com. We have worked with these guys before. They have a very interesting streaming site under their belts. They've been running for quite a while now. They not only stream music, put artists on, help build the profile of independent artists, but they also print vinyl. They also print records. They release albums out there into the ether that they have streaming off their website. And you should know, being a record collector, that their entire archive, okay? Entire archive, I'm being told here, entire Feedbands archive is selling for $2 a record. $2 a record with $5 shipping. So $2 a record. You're mostly just paying for the shipping here. So $2 a record off of the link that we are going to hit you with down there in the description box. Feedbands has released over 70 independent artists on vinyl, and they've done that based on the votes of its members. Typically, records cost $26 plus shipping, but now they are $2. Just $2. Every record in the archive is a first pressing, and now is your chance to pick up any Feedbands record that is still in stock for $2. You should hurry because some of these releases have already sold out. So again, that is Feedbands. We have left you guys with a link to the website down there, feedbands.com/vinyl/record-archive. It's in the description box. $2 a record. Can't go wrong. All right, let's get into the tracks that I thought were the worst tracks this week. Let's do it. First one, ba-bam. The Pixies have dropped or rather just Pixies. Yep, they're still at it, and they have dropped an incredibly weak and awkward cut titled On Graveyard Hill. There's really not much to say about it. It's just an incredibly boring, drab song. Just wish Pixies had kind of a fire in their belly once again, but at this point I don't think they do. The new Madonna song is very annoying, preachy, basic as far as the rhyme scheme and message goes, and quite annoying. A track whose song is completely ruined, all because Madonna wants to put out this fake woke message about society's obsession with fame and so on and so forth. Moving on from there, we have a new track from Chris Brown and Drake as well. It's titled No Guidance, and it sounds like your very typical buttery smooth Chris Brown R&B banger with absolutely nothing special about it outside of the Drake performance. It's not really all that necessary at this point. It's just kind of horrible by way of being so painfully average. And let's get into the tracks that I thought were kind of meh. They weren't blowing me away or anything, but I certainly thought they were worth pointing out, shouting out. You guys might like them more than me. First off, new Rec and Reference track. A bit of a change of pace from the last teaser, the last single. The group or the experimental music project has dropped. This one is a bit more abrasive and is packed with a very tense bit of spoken word that almost borders on rapping. It's very odd, although I would say it was a bit difficult to digest. You know, in the short amount of time I had to listen to this song, I couldn't quite make a call as to whether or not it was really vibing with me or anything. But I will say I was intrigued. I am looking forward to hearing this track in the context of the rest of the album that they have coming out very soon. Moving on from there, Whitney is a somewhat breakthrough, secretly Canadian Chicago band. I mean, they've been at it for a little while, but this new track, this new single of theirs, Giving Up, has been turning quite a few heads this week. It's actually getting quite a bit of play on streaming and stuff like that. People making a big deal of the track. And I think it's a very pretty, classic, nostalgic pop rock song with some lavish instrumental passages. I thought the vocals were kind of weak, frankly. But, I mean, there are so few artists out there reviving this particular brand of, I guess, very complexly arranged throwback 70s vocal pop and rock. So, yeah, I mean, give it a try. Give it a try. You might like the throwback vibe of the song quite a bit. Moving on from there, Oliver Tree has come through with a new cut, a new music video, rather, that's kind of been blowing up a little bit. Wanted to point it out because it has been doing well for the guy. Over 1 million views on in a very short amount of time. However, I feel like the the tune at the core of this one is easily the most tedious that he's put out in a while. The refrain, the acoustic guitar passage, there's not a whole lot to it. You know, it's not nearly as catchy, and some of the lyrics just feel like I don't know, just an allusion to something meaningful or an allusion to something deep or emotionally significant, but it doesn't really add up into much, frankly. Moving on from there, Big K.R.I.T. K.R.I.T. here, brand new single. One of my favorite Southern rappers back with a brand new song. And I feel like this track has a lot of good things going for it. It has a lot of things that I like. I want to love this track. Honestly, I really do. And hey, you know what? The first major single he teased from his last album, I thought was okay when I first heard it. I thought was okay, at least from what I can remember. I don't remember freaking out about it too hard, and it grew on me. It definitely did grow on me though once I heard the entire album. That could be the case for this new song over here, but I will say what did turn me off about the track a little bit is that there was a lot going on, but not a lot of it was coalescing, in my opinion. K.R.I.T. had some very animated, over-the-top rap performances on this thing, a lot of shouts. It was like he was a preacher on the song, effectively. I mean, you could even tell from the cover art here that he's like directly referencing church culture on this thing. And the gospel influences in the beat were kind of a breath of fresh air as well. But the beat, too, felt almost schizophrenic in a way. There was a lot happening, a lot of weird chopped up samples, a lot of strange grooves and rhythms, a lot of changes, a lot of strange combinations of sounds. Like a lot of things isolated in this track sound pretty great and come off pretty ambitious, frankly. But I'm still sitting here wondering, is this like really coming together into an effective track? At the end of the day, it felt a little bit like a mess, and maybe more listens will make me warm up to it a bit more. But as of right now, first impressions, I'm not as blown away by it as I would like to be. Moving on from there, Horror and Ghostmane have collaborated on a new track that maybe isn't the most seamless marriage of their two sounds, but it is pretty hardcore, it is pretty aggressive, some pretty badass and distorted guitars all over this thing, and Ghostmane is woven, I think, more into horror sound than vice versa, and it works pretty well, even though it's maybe not the most unique song I've ever heard. Moving on from there, GoldLink has come through with a brand new single featuring Tyler, the Creator, and J Prince. There are some elements of this track I thought were underwhelming. Some elements of it I like quite a bit. I thought the dance beat was great. I thought Tyler's performance on the track was great. GoldLink once more underwhelms, but I still thought it was one of his more solid vocal performances. I will say that. J Prince was also a great choice for the chorus on this one. Did a full-length track review of this on the Fantano channel. If you haven't seen that, check it out. Also, girl band, Shoulderblades. The band is back with, I don't know, their own sort of little brand of very heavy, noisy, industrial-ish rock music. This track, especially for girl band, was kind of winding and strange and patience testing. I'm not sure if the payoff was as exciting and as worthwhile as the group thought it would be, but if you're really looking for something out there that is abrasive and abstract, you're definitely going to want to try out this new track, Shoulderblades. Moving on from there, Future has a brand new project out. He's been teasing this track, or rather, this track, Government Official, has been making the rounds, and honestly, in my view, after enjoying quite a bit of the material where he had better vocal performances, interesting beat switch-ups off of the WYRD, it seems like on this new track over here, he's very much going back to just putting in the lowest amount of effort possible and just, you know, sort of doing Future by the numbers, which is sad, which is unfortunate. I'm sure the fans are probably going to like it, but as of right now, I feel like Future continues to dig his heels into one sound and one idea and one vibe, and meanwhile, like, there have been so many new artists evolving past this sound over the past several years, and I'm just worried Future is going to get lost in the haze of every other artist out there who is trying new things and taking risks. You know, even if some of what they're doing is considered trendy today, like, at least they're on that new wave. Future, in my view, is sort of falling behind at this point if he's going to continue putting out tracks that sound exactly like this. So, I don't know, pretty underwhelmed by it, even though it's not necessarily a horrible track from Future. Moving on from there, Erykah Badu has come through with a cover song with James Poyser on the track of the song Tempted. And I think some of the vocal mixing on the track is a little awkward, but still it's a pretty faithful rendition of the song, which is a lovely track. You know, awesome to hear some artists kind of bringing some attention back to it. Darkthrone has come through with a new track, new project on the way. The title of this new song is Duke of Gloat, and pretty average sound and instrumental and progression by black metal standards, but it's Darkthrone. They're one of the most classic black metal bands out there. If anybody out there is going to get away, you know, and not that Darkthrone hasn't put out records in the past where they've taken a risk, you know, changed up their sound. They certainly have. You know, Darkthrone has fucking changed up their sound a few times over the course of their very lengthy career. This new track over here, though, to my ears, even though the production, you know, is nowhere near as grimy or as nasty as a lot of the old school stuff out of the 90s, to me, this progression, to me, this compositional progression, to me, this type of riff writing just sounds very meat and potatoes black metal, sounds very by the numbers black metal. And if you're one of those purists, if you're one of those people that likes to hear the genre true to form, you're probably not going to, you know, want to miss this, because that's definitely what they're doing on this cut. Moving on from there, Blanck Mass, excuse me, Blanck Mass, the solo effort of Mr. Power from Fuck Buttons fame, one half of Fuck Buttons, has come through with a brand new cut over here, and it's titled House versus House. It's a very jittery, somewhat glitchy, very overwhelming song with some interesting and very repetitive samples. Reaches a strange climax, though. I'm somewhat mixed on this track. I feel like there are elements of it that are mind-blowing, and there are elements of it that are just so obnoxious to me that I don't want to hear it again. But of course, I will try it some more times as we're getting closer to the release of the new Blanck Mass record, and you know, who knows? I could warm up to it in that time. It was certainly weird enough to you know, get me scratching my head, and that's always a good thing, even if I'm not like blown away by a track at first, I guess. And let's get into the tracks that I thought were the best ones this week, the ones that really set it off for me. The tracks that I thought were the hardest, the most exciting. First off, Segall, or Segall, rather. I don't want to say his name wrong. Excuse me. Segall has a new project on the way, although he's always got something new coming out around the corner. He's one of the most prolific guys in underground rock music. All you really need to do is just like look down at your watch, and it's probably just going to be like a half an hour till a new Segall record comes out. So, you know. But he's always got something new coming out, and this month is no different. This track over here that he's just dropped, Taste, is pretty good. It's pretty good. It's psychedelic, it's punky, it's overwhelming, it's noisy, the songwriting is pretty sharp, and it's attached to a pretty hilarious music video as well. So, you know, Ty is a guy who, I know I'm not going to like every project he drops. He's going to come out with records that I think are boring, are safe, are maybe a little too out there or unfocused. But every once in a while, he does come out with an album, and this is why I always try to keep tabs on whatever he's doing, that you know, really kind of feels like he's pushing the envelope a little bit and hitting a great balance of experimental and accessible. And to me, this new track over here definitely was scratching that itch. Moving on from there, Sandy, Alex G has a new record on the way, House of Sugar, and teaser track from this record, Gretel. I actually enjoyed quite a bit. I know a little while ago, the last time I did an Alex G review, got a lot of flack for it. People telling me like, "Oh, you're dumb. You're just an idiot. You don't get the genius of his music," and so on and so forth. And look, that's fine. I'm not going to like everything, but even though by I guess many standards you could say this new track Gretel is a standard sad boy indie rock tune. Still, I thought the arranged instrumentation on this track was pretty great. I thought the climax that it came to toward the end was amazing and beautiful. I thought the production had a great mix of just good mixing, good instrumentation, a lot of organic, tasteful, beautiful sounds packed within, but it had a somewhat lo-fi veneer that was definitely, you know, sweet and admirable. I felt like that lo-fi aesthetic was working more in G's favor than it was on his last album. And the songwriting, I think, has improved since the last record as well, just based on this song alone. So the tune is there, instrumentation is there. I think there are some subtly experimental and weird aspects to the sound of the song, too, that I think are pretty cool and creative. So, yeah, House of Sugar, looking forward to it. Sampa the Great. Rapper Sampa the Great has an amazing new song out titled Final Form. And this is like the best rap performance I've heard her deliver on a track. And apparently John Wayne also mixed this song and did a hell of a job at that as well. If you listen to one rap song this week, if you listen to one new rap song this week, make it this one, because it's fucking awesome. Thank you. All right. Snort, snort. Prurient. 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 Noise project. Prurient has a new project on the way. And there has been a song released, a song teased. This one is titled Screaming Eagles Airborne Graveyard. And it's obviously tied into the title here, Garden of the Mutilated Paratroopers. And this song certainly sees Prurient going back into that just straight up noise, almost like power electronics phase of the project's career. It's very abrasive. It's very distorted. Tons of feedback. It's literally a shock to the ears. It's a shock to the brain. And it's very short as well. So it's not like it goes on forever or anything, which I do think it is kind of unique that Prurient tends to, you know, keep these very noisy and abrasive abstract modes of music kind of brief and to the point. I find it refreshing in a way. Even in this short amount of time, you know, 2 minutes and change that the song lasts, does leave a very strong impression. I mean, again, the feedback and distortion on this track is absolutely shocking and grating to an extreme degree. It feels like being in a war zone, frankly, and almost traumatizing in a way. I'll leave it at that. I definitely recommend trying this track out if you're looking for anything experimental or something that's going to, like, you know, really melt your brain. Moving on from there, Liam Gallagher of Oasis fame has come through with a brand new single, a track that I actually liked quite a bit, believe it or not, even though I found quite a few songs from his last record kind of bland. But Shockwave is the name of his new rock anthem, his new barn burner over here. Yeah, it's got some pretty Liam Gallagher-ish guitar riffs and vocals, but it's kind of a hell of a song. You know, it's simple, it's blunt, it's straightforward, it hits hard, it's got a lot of attitude, certainly more teeth on it than I think a lot of Liam's recent work has had, and certainly blowing anything his brother is doing out of the water right now. Let's see. Oh, we have a new track over here from a project by the name of Gaahls, WYRD. I'm not familiar with that lettering, but Gahl, if you're unfamiliar, is a longtime black metal vocalist, known for his work in WYRD, as well as one of my favorite black metal bands, Gorgoroth. But still, you know, I haven't gotten into every single solo or side effort he's ever been involved in. And so this new project has a record on the way, and the song out that has been released this week is Erilar. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Erilar. And it's a pretty interesting bit of black metal. I mean, how to explain it? I mean, for one, the vocals are absolutely twisted. I mean, not only, I mean, I guess you could say in a way they do fit the typical black metal vocal form, but there's something uniquely twisted and chilling about them. They sound like something out of, you know, my nightmares. They're very freaky. They're very bone chilling. I'll say that. And, you know, the guitars sound hellish, yes, but kind of weird, just really warped. It sounds like black metal from a surreal dream, or again, I'll just use the word nightmare. It sounds like black metal from a surreal, tortured nightmare, you know, where someone's just like creeping over your shoulder and they're gonna get you. It's very freaky. It's very freaky, and I like it quite a bit. Do not miss out on this song. The metalheads in the audience, don't miss out on this track. Sizzling, 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 sizzling. Brand new track, brand new single from Daphni, aka Caribou. It's a great dance song. It's a great dance rager. It's got some awesome, like, kind of funk, soul, disco samples placed throughout it. It's got a great progression, high energy, beautiful, illustrious instrumentation. I would love a new Daphni record, frankly, of tracks just like this. I would love that. Wartime dub, Culture City. This is a brand new track from Culture Abuse, and it features Little Ugly Mane. And it's Little Ugly Mane rapping over a very strange instrumental that is very obviously influenced by dub reggae. And it's kind of abstract, a little weird and off-putting, but it's actually a pretty great song. It's actually a pretty great track. Looking forward to more material from this project and hopefully more crossovers in the future, I guess. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. A project or an artist I'm just hearing of now, Channel Trace, Sexy Black Timberlake. This song is hilarious. This song is so funny and fun and catchy and chock full of personality. I just love it. It's very playful. It's very tongue-in-cheek. It's, I'll say it's even a little sassy too. And I don't know, the dance grooves are great. I love the vocals. It's kind of a mix of just dance music, hip-hop, funk, pop, but it's definitely got a strong weirdo edge to it. You know, it's not, you know, obviously Justin Timberlake is referenced in the title here, but it's not a Justin Timberlake song. It's not anything like that. But it does play on the idea of making kind of sexy, danceable pop music, and it does so in a very clever and genius way. You know, again, another track. You know, if you walk away from this video hearing one track, in addition to the Sampa track, make it this one as well. This one is very fun. Dream Glow, BTS, Charli XCX from the new BTS World soundtrack, I guess. Yeah, Charli XCX and the famed K-pop outfit, they finally crossed over, and yeah, it's a pretty good song. Charli's vocals on the hook here kill it. BTS sound smooth and execute well on this. I liked this song quite a bit more than a lot of the tracks off Persona. There were some verses that I thought were a little underwhelming on the track, you know, some moments during the verses of the song, but the instrumental is solid, outside of the beat being a little repetitive, and again, chorus absolutely rules, and it's a pretty well-produced cut as well. So yeah, liked it quite a bit. Bon Iver has come through with a few singles recently that I have talked about on the Fantano channel. Did a full-length review of them over there, so if you want to hear more thoughts, subscribe over there. Check out that video. But the names of the tracks are You, Man Like, and Hey Ma. You is not a track I would put in the best section of the weekly track roundup. It's more of a meh, in my opinion, kind of a very stripped back, underwhelming, unfinished ballad. Meanwhile, Hey Ma is actually, I think, one of the better songs that Justin Vernon has written and released in a long time. A bit of a fizzled ending, and the drums are kind of buried, but the Instrumentation sounds rich and gorgeous. Justin's vocals are pretty nicely layered and harmonized. His vocal performance is convincing as well. Very passionate, very powerful. Wish I had a bit more oomph to it, but it's a beautiful tune. It's a beautiful song, and looking forward to hearing more like it, hopefully. Boss has come through. Dreamville artist, Dreamville rapper Boss, who I have covered on the channel, I think, in brief before, because I thought his last record was super underwhelming. He's come through with a song over here where his rapping and his performance actually grabbed my attention. Thought up until this point that the dude's stuff and his rap style were just really underwhelming and just nothing to write home about. But this new track over here, Fried Rice, he really jumps off the page. Now, that could have something to do with the fact that J.I.D is on the song, and J.I.D kills it on the track. I mean, he definitely comes out ahead on the song. Nobody ever really comes out of a J.I.D song outperforming J.I.D. I actually wonder at this point, if we had J.I.D and Kendrick on a track, you know, like would Kendrick even come out of that song sounding more impressive than J.I.D would? I wonder. I genuinely do wonder. But still, having said that, I do think having J.I.D on the song did sort of put Boss in a position where it's like, okay, I got to like up the ante here. I got to like raise the energy level and do my best and write my best shit and, you know, pull together like a really impressive flow for this song. And for the most part, he does. And it leads to great chemistry. It leads to a lot of excitement. It leads to a pretty great track. Very punchy, very fun, very thoughtful hip-hop track that does being lyrical and does rapping proficiently well. You know, it's not just like that generic spiritual, lyrical miracle, you know, kind of crap. So, you know, definitely peep this one. Check it out. And that has been the weekly track roundup, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you guys got some solid recommendations out of this video. Remember, they're all linked below. And once more, shout out to the good people over at Feedbands. That whole discography over there, that whole catalog on sale, $2 a record. Can't go wrong. Even if you just want to try an album out, grab one. All you're doing is paying for shipping outside of that $2. Link down below, along with the Turntable Lab, Amazon, and once more, all the tracks we talked about in this video. So we will see you guys in the next one. You're the best. Anthony Fantano, Weekly Track Roundup, forever.